The dude is big. He's not as slow as people think he is, and he can punch. You know, that's why a lot of people know, like,
Terence Crawford and his strength, his poise, his skill level, his defense. It was a master class, and I think it shot him right up to the #1 pound for pound.
I'm fighting Jake Paul. I'm fighting Jake Paul. Come on, Jake. Hey, Logan.
Logan, Jake Paul versus Terence Crawford. Crawford is one of the greatest pound-for-pound fighters of all time. A man who built his career on skill, patience, and precision has officially changed his mind about Jake Paul.
We used to have this conversation in the ring. Would you fight Jake Paul?
Nah. Jake doing
He too big? He too big?
Yeah, Jake big, but he doing his thing, man.
Crawford says he's willing to fight Jake Paul if the conditions are right. For years, he saw Jake as nothing more than a YouTube entertainer. Terence Crawford used to say Jake Paul was turning boxing into a circus. But now, he admits that Jake's discipline, power, and rapid improvement in the ring have made him rethink everything.
Jake can punch with that right hand. Like, I seen him, up close in person. Like, dude is big. He's not as slow as people think he is, and he can punch. That's why a lot of people know, like, there was times where, him and Tyson was in the ring and he could have, like, laid it on Tyson, but he kind of, like, held back.
There has never been a story like this in modern combat sports. Not long ago, Crawford didn't respect anything Jake stood for, a YouTuber making millions, skipping the amateur grind, and calling out fighters who spent decades earning their place. But now that Jerona Tank Davis may not be able to fight Jake Paul in his next match, Crawford might step in as a replacement. Let's be honest, when the payday is massive, even the most stubborn legends start to listen.
Jake Paul, Gervonta Tank Davis, the fight is in jeopardy. There's another, yes, I said another domestic abuse allegation against Gervonta Davis, and that may either destroy, postpone, change the entire event.
How did one of boxing's greatest minds go from mocking Jake Paul to possibly sparring with him? You need to go back to understand how crazy this shift is. Crawford didn't just ignore Jake, he actively disliked what he represented. From the moment Jake entered boxing, Crawford made it clear, boxing is not a game. It takes blood, patience, and years of hard lessons. To him, Jake was just chasing money, stepping onto sacred boxing ground with fans, not footwork.
When people was coming at you and your brother negative about boxing, I'm like, man, yeah, them dudes just, using their YouTube status to come in boxing and make all this money.
Crawford once said Jake was a circus act, fun to watch, but not part of the real show. But that changed the night Crawford traveled to Puerto Rico. He wasn't there for Jake, but he ended up watching Jake fight Ryan Borland. When Jake scored a clean knockout, Crawford saw something different. I saw him up close, Crawford later said. That guy can fight. Not as slow as people think. He can punch. The same man who used to laugh at Jake Paul walked away with something new, interest.
And you got all these boxers that's been doing it their whole life that doesn't even make close to what they making. I think it's disrespectful to us in the game. And then
a few weeks later, Crawford went on Logan Paul's podcast and shocked everyone. He admitted he was wrong. At first I thought it was disrespectful, he said. I thought this dude was using YouTube fame to get rich off boxing. Then I saw him train. I thought, damn, he's actually getting better. Coming from Terence Crawford, a perfectionist who rarely praises anyone, this was huge. He talked about Jake's discipline and how Jake now trains like a real professional, improves every fight, and takes boxing seriously.
His last fight, I was there ringside and sitting there, and I'm like, man, this dude can punch with that right hand. And I'm like, man, he ain't just no regular.
Something changed.
Yeah, like when you see it firsthand, like he ain't fighting no killer.
It became acceptable to call Jake serious, but not special. And that shift opened a question Crawford would have laughed at before. What would happen if I fought Jake Paul? This isn't just about respect. There's money on the table. Crawford has done everything. 2-division undisputed champion, undefeated, pound-for-pound #1. There's only one thing left, a massive crossover payday. And Jake Paul generates more attention than anyone in the sport. His events draw global audiences from all walks of life. Whether you like him or not, he brought showmanship back to boxing, and that means pay-per-view gold.
Let Jake do what
You
Jake.
got 200 million for you.
I'm fighting Jake Paul. I'm fighting Jake Paul. Come on, Jake. Hey, Logan.
Crawford is starting to understand the bigger picture. This isn't just about proving who the better fighter is, that part is obvious. It's about timing, legacy, and capitalizing while the world is watching. So when rumors surfaced that Tank Davis's legal issues might cancel his fight with Jake, Crawford didn't say no. He said, if the stars align, chaos is coming to the boxing world.
Been a lot of allegations against Tank. When things like this happen over and over, I think this is his 4th or maybe 5th allegation of domestic abuse, you kind of start to have to look at the person that's being accused of such and go, why do you keep ending up in these situations? And the way it's described, we've even seen Tank do some of the things already on camera. I don't think that's something that Netflix is wanting to be a part of at that point. I don't know if Jake wants to be involved with somebody like that, which is why they're starting to look for potential replacement.
Jake was originally set to fight Gerona Davis, but Tank ran into legal trouble, assault allegations, lawsuits, and uncertainty about his future. Suddenly, Jake Paul's massive Netflix event looked like it might collapse. His team reacted quickly. Names like Ryan Garcia, Nate Diaz, even Anthony Joshua were mentioned. But Crawford's name stood out immediately because it made sense. Crawford brings credibility. Jake brings attention. Together, global headlines. Jake didn't hesitate. I'd fight Terence for sure. Let's do it.
Terence Crawford, you just made my bitch list.
Would you fight Jake Paul?
Nah.
Come on now, bro. All these pound for pound fighters are too scared to fight me. They need 200 million to do it.
At that moment, the dream started feeling real. For Jake, this isn't about shock value anymore. It's about legacy. Even if he loses, facing Terence Crawford instantly removes the YouTuber boxer label forever. Jake is also younger, bigger, and stronger. He believes his size balances Crawford's skill. This fight is crazy, Jake said. But that's why it makes sense. My size versus his skill. Nobody knows what happens. And here's the twist. Crawford isn't laughing at him anymore. He now says Jake is a legitimate boxer. He's facing guys at his level and getting better each fight.
But for him, it's stepping stones just like any other fighter.
Yep.
Like, a lot of people want Jake Paul to just go in there and fight Alexander Usyk, but no, you gotta.
Crawford said, I respected him more after seeing him live. From the sport's smartest technician, that's not praise, it's confirmation. A year ago, Crawford wouldn't even say Jake's name next to the word boxing. Now he says, if everything works out, I'll take that fight today. This isn't just mutual respect, it signals a shift in boxing culture. Fights are no longer just made in gyms. They're made in boardrooms, negotiations, and social media battles.
Don't know anything about the Gervonta Davis situation. I don't know if the fight's off. I don't know. No real conversations about Anthony Joshua. I mean, might have slipped it into a conversation, but the key thing is obviously Anthony's exclusive with the zone.
Jake Paul has a Netflix deal. Crawford is a free agent linked to Ryan Garcia and Anthony Joshua. Even AJ's promoter, Eddie Hearn, confirmed Jake's team asked about future matchups. One thing is clear, the line between traditional boxing and influencer boxing is fading. If legendary, pure, old-school Terence Crawford fights Jake Paul, it marks the beginning of a new era. Old-school skill versus new school business. Experience versus youth. Respect versus risk. Fans are divided, half say it's embarrassing, half say it's genius. But everyone agrees, if this fight happens, the world will watch. Rumors say Las Vegas or Saudi Arabia. If true, it could break every pay-per-view record.
He has what Teddy called like a third eye, his instincts. He sees things before other people sees it, and he's able to react quicker than people realize. I think that cements him as the number one based on his performance against Errol Spence Jr. I think he's the number one fighter pound for pound on the planet right now. Do you agree with me?
I would agree. And it makes me think, like, I start to think, who would have won, Terence Crawford or Floyd Mayweather? And based off of how Terence looked at welterweight, I think Terence would have won.
This isn't just another fight. It's a global moment showing how boxing has evolved. Terence Crawford once thought Jake Paul was a joke. Now he sees him as an opponent. This isn't about hate anymore. It's about opportunity. Jake brings noise. Crawford brings legitimacy. Together, they could define a new boxing era. So now the only question left is, does Jake Paul actually stand a chance against a pound-for-pound legend? Or will Crawford show the world what real elite boxing looks like? Share your thoughts below.